A very pleasant evening to you out there, esteemed viewers. This is Topadis TV, and we are here on your favorite program, Rebuilding Our Nation. Like we usually do it, we are here today with a fresh episode and fresh perspective into political issues ranging in Nigeria. And of course, we are not here alone like we usually do. I come here with my colleague, beautiful, delectable, and of course, very daring.
Thanks, Mr. Judge. That's too much. Tv.Prog. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We're going to be having Honorable Rafiu. Adejare is a governorship aspirant of the PDP, under the PDP umbrella in Osun State. And he will be joining us from his residence, where we'll be asking him a few questions about what he intends to do if he is being selected or elected as the governor of Osun State come later this year. Do stay with us. Alright, it's good to have you join us from home, sir. Hope Osun is beautiful today. Quickly, so that we can maximize the time we have on our hands. Sir, how will you describe the present administration of the APC of Governorship in Osun State?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I served under the government for 6 months as the head of the parliament. You know, I was in the house for 12 years, 4 years, the first 4 years as a minority leader, and the last 8 years as speaker. The first 7.5 years it was under Governor Governorship, but when the judgment came and it was sent packing, Adejare came, and my tenure had not expired, so I was under Adejare's administration for 6 months. When the man came, he meant well to develop the state in a hurry, but I tried to sound the note of warning that it is difficult to do that, and that the end results will not be palatable, and that is what we are experiencing now. It is true, I want to concede to him that because of his background, the Lagos background, that they have too many resources to play around with. He compared that place with Osun. I said, when he was saying that Osun will be indebted, I said, when Osun gets indebted, how do we pay back? And that is what is playing out now. You can bear me out that Osun is seriously indebted. We have some roads to show for it, but when you calculate the kilometers of roads tied, the classroom built, you will discover that it does not worth it compared to the debt owed by Osun State. Just about 4 days ago, at a program known as Urbanity Birthday Break, the governor admitted that the administration is owing as much as 143 billion naira, another 30 billion bond, another 11 point something billion sukuk, and many liabilities to contractors. When you put all of this together conservatively, those of us in the opposition put it at 250 billion. When you now look at the work or the job done, you cannot justify 100 billion. So how did we come to that level? And that is the question in the lips of everybody now. Now, fine, the governor did some things that the state never experienced. The 2 overhead bridges, the one at Guber, the one at Adejare. But all the same, a situation that warrants a kilometer of road constructed for over $1 billion in Osun State, when we are not in the riverine area, it calls for question. And some of us in the opposition are saying the governor must explain to us how did we come to that level of award of contract to the tune of over ₦1 billion per kilometer. And a number of things. A classroom called Mega School constructed for over ₦1 billion. All of that put together, one would say, it's outrageous. I'm not even bothered about all those things I've talked about. But the essence of the mega schools that we have, whoever advised them to do it, by now the governor must have realized that it was ill advised. Because at the end of the day now, Wole Soyinka School in Ejigbo, the capacity was for 3,500 pupils. The one at Adventist Grammar School was 3,500. As I speak, none of those classrooms, even the two at Adejare and what was it now? Osun Grammar School, all of them, everything under utilization. There is no one that has up to 500 pupils in hall. And the classroom was meant to occupy 3,500. That is a colossal waste. And we are not part of the states that have derivation. Even those states with derivation cannot waste money unnecessarily. What I advised before I left the government, that remove the roof, the windows, the ceilings, and change it to long span. When they discover that the projects are not suitable for our people here, they change to that, and that is what they are doing now, after the money had been spent. So I want to say that the kind of policy somersault that happened under Adejare administration is second to none. And if I have the opportunity to govern the state, I will do something quite different from what is on ground now. I'm not pleased, I'm not impressed the way we have governed the state in the last 7.5 years.
Okay. Sir, you stated that debt that has been incurred by this present administration, and now you're coming in as the governor. If you eventually emerge, how do you intend to provide solution or solve some of these problems in Osun State?
Well, one will require a magic wand to get the problem solved. But I'm happy the governor announced that some of the indebtedness will be defrayed by 2019, by 2020. I don't agree with him, but the question is, will the governor be there till 2019 or 2020? Because by November this year, his tenure expires. So it is not done. Why
What
did you?
if it isn't solved?
What?
If it isn't solved, we're talking about debt.
Yeah.
He is going to solve the problem
Yeah.
about the debt.
Yeah. Which I know
Before
the
you
problem
use-
could not be solved, because some of these loans will be paid for a period of over 10 years at least. You are now asking me, how do I want to go about it repaying? Now, the governor is paying already from the allocation coming to the state. In the last 3 years, we have been paying not less than 2 billion every month from the allocation. So that will continue. And that means if I become the governor, the payment will continue. I now must look for a way of getting revenue internally. And that is to say, we must look inward to make sure that we have other means of getting revenue for government to run.
Okay. You were in APC before.
No, I was never in APC.
I thought you said you served under APC.
No, I did not. I said I was in APP as a minority leader.
Okay.
And I served under Adejare for 6 months as speaker in the House of Assembly.
Assembly, okay.
I was a speaker under PDP.
PDP.
But
Right.
APC executive came and I was still under him.
Okay.
So, why do you choose the PDP despite the battered image and being in the opposition party and all of that, the party seems to have lost face, in the last few years since the APC assumed office. Why do you stick to the PDP?
If you see anybody saying that there are dents on PDP or that the image is battered, people are saying it out of ignorance. Come to think of it, what can you say of PDP in terms of maladministration that the APC had not done far more than it? Name it. Is it corruption? People talk of corruption when PDP was. And when you look at it, who actually perpetrated these corrupt practices? Are they not the same people in APC now that were in PDP before? I can confidently tell you that the National Assembly is populated with not less than 3 or 2 over 3 of PDP members of yesterday. Many of them, I can tell you, of all the governors from the north now, except 3 or 4, all of them were PDP members before. So what are you talking about? If you want to let them start from 1999, whoever must have been PDP from 1999 to date, wherever you might be now, you are a corrupt person. Let us come to that conclusion. Not to say that it is only, okay, take for instance, some people have just retired from service and they join PDP. Will you call that person a corrupt man under PDP too? While those that actually perpetrated corruption were in PDP, but they are now in APC. Don't you notice the scenario playing out now? That some people, because they have their hands soiled for corruption and they were in PDP before, they are crossing over to APC for them to become a saint. What kind of arrangement is that? And some of them that were already in court before they crossed to PDP, APC, you won't hear anything about their cases again. To tell you that corruption is everywhere. Unfortunately, we talk of corruption in terms of people stealing money. Nepotism is a corruption that Buhari is practicing. To have put northerners almost everywhere without consideration for people from the south is corruption on its own. It's like somebody that is saying, I'm not corrupt, I don't do anything bad. But you are going out with another man's wife. It's another corruption. So corruption, varies. And there are many species of it. It is not about stealing money that is corruption. Because
there are so many other things that are attached to it.
Too many. There are just too many.
All right, sir.
So the image of PDP is not battered in any way. If it was battered, I will cite a classical example. Here in Osun State, where APC is ruling the last 7 years, we have done 2 major by-elections and PDP won. The latest was the election of Senator Adejare. He was in APC, he crossed to PDP, and he won 9 out of 10 local government. That is to tell you, people have shown that APC is no more a party of their preference in Osun State.
Sir, as a former speaker between the period of 2003 to 2011, how did you use your office to contribute to the improvement of Osun State?
That does not lie in my mouth to tell you this is what I've done. But if you want me to blow the trumpet myself, for 8 years that I was speaker, even as a minority leader for 4 years, 1999 to 2000, I did a lot to better the lot of people of the state. And when I became speaker, it was my state that introduced constituency projects in Nigeria, in the parliament. Myself, in the north that I represented, I constructed 42 blocks of classrooms, of 3 classrooms each, 42, in all the public primary and secondary schools in my constituency. Unfortunately, Many of them were pulled down by this administration to give way to mega schools. And so also all my members between 2003 and 2011. We passed a number of laws, bills into law that assisted this state to grow. Unfortunately, since I left, things are not the same again. The mechanism to control over-invoiced contracts, the law is called Public Procurement Law. Immediately I left the house, the law was caused to be repealed. Just last year, when the issue of bailouts came, they now reenacted the same law, word for word, because it was made a condition precedent by the CBN that if you don't have public procurement law, you cannot access the money. A number of things. Is it Child Rights Act? Is it the law against courtesan? When the law against courtesan was brought to the House of Assembly, the governor and his ESCO members recommended 25 years as a punishment. Under my watch, we change it to death penalty. Because you cannot explain to me, even it is in the Quran, it's in the Bible, tit for tat. If in the course of courtesan or joining court group, a life gets lost, how could on earth allow such a person to live? That soul too must go. And it was allowed to.
Sir, if you emerge as the governor of Osun State, can you state 3 things that you would do for your people here in Osun State? Out of many.
Well, you are asking for my manifestos now.
Yes.
Which I may not want to release, but I want to tell you that I have a program that I've designed in form of manifestos that I will roll out at the appropriate time. But for the purpose of this interview, I want to tell you that my government will dwell so much on agriculture, road maintenance, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Largely, it depends on the availability of funds, but one thing that nobody would take away from my administration is the road maintenance. In this part of the world, government at all levels lack maintenance culture. It doesn't matter whether the money is available for new rehabilitation or construction, but the existing ones, what are we doing about it? Therefore, under my watch, the Ministry of Works will be made to be very functional, and whatever it takes, local government by local government, we must encourage them to maintain roads in their domain. Notwithstanding whether a road is federal, state, once you can notice potholes anywhere, it is your job. And the State Ministry of Works will do what is needful to make sure our roads are passable. Another magic wand that I want to introduce is what Oyinlola did when he was the governor. The encouragement given to the local government administration. Unlike now, I will make sure local government in the 30 local government and area office function very well under me. It is because we don't allow them to function. That is why there is exodus of people from local to the center. But when you allow local government to function, I remember during the last time, people will go in the morning to the local government, they will meet the councillors, supervisors, advisors, EAs, and the rest of it. But now, go to our local government secretariat, overgrown with bushes. That is not done. So that will come back to be if I become the governor. I want to develop this state through the local government. The roads.
Just closer to the classroom.
Yeah, the roads. The agriculture and many other, even health and other things that needed to be provided. Needed to be provided for people. I want to say that it is and only when government at the center in the federal is ready to shed weight that we can talk of development in this country. And the states too, if the federal sheds weight to the states must be ready to shed weight in favor of the local government. When we do that, there will be an improvement all over the world, except in this part of the world. Local government will have their police, they have their rules, they have whatever they should have as a government. But here, we try to concentrate everything at the center. It is not done. What is the business of the federal government doing with agric? Where is their land? Because by Land Use Act of 1978, the land in each of the states of the federation is vested in the government of that state. If the federal government wants to do anything now and they require land, they will have to approach the government of that state for land. So how can federal government claim to be having Ministry of Agric? Okay. So those are the things that I think if I have my way to govern the state, and the civil service is bastardized in this country, in this state, I'll make sure there is a kind of reorientation as to the civil service. Here in Osun State, you will see civil servants on the street, even by 10, by 11 a.m. in the morning. If you ask them why, they will tell you the government is paying them half salary, so they want.
Great one, sir. Now, let me ask you this question. If any of your agenda or ideas or programs isn't welcomed by the people, for example, the idea of the same uniform in all public schools, in Osun State that this administration tried to implement, you notice that the people did not embrace it that much. What would you do if you happen to be in that position and then you're trying to actually instill a program, into the system and the people refuse to embrace it? Would you rather enforce it? How would you treat, such sensitive cases when it comes if you are elected governor of Osun State?
When the governor came, I was still in government that time, and the idea got muted. I was vehemently against it, that it is not done. That the beauty of pupils in school, at the primary schools, secondary school, is to identify them with the name of their schools, their uniforms. I remember when we were young, if the uniform of one school is almost the same with the other, either the shorts or the top, they will change one for the other. Like in my town now, the top of Adejare school uniform then and that of Seventh-day Adventists was almost the same. But Adventists took to shorts, black, and Muslim grammar school, white. And that means wherever any student commits any crime, you identify them very easily. Unlike now, you can't. And since the uniform, the same uniform thing came, crime increased in our secondary schools, even up to primary schools. For the first time, secondary school pupils are fighting teachers, fighting themselves. We are hearing of courtesan among them. That is not done because the uniform that is the same all over has not given the opportunity to identify which school A or B or C belongs. And that has been the same. Yes. How can I do as a governor what my people don't like? It's about my people set up a kind of committee to ask people, do you want it? Call the principals, call the teachers that are involved, call the parents association of all schools, their representatives, put them in a hall. Now, what is obtainable now? Do you want it continued? If the answer is no in chorus, I won't wait till the next day, because it doesn't require any amendment to anything. If it is a law, I will have to go back to the House of Assembly. But this one is about policy of government. So with executive fiat, the moment the parents, the students, representative, the teachers, the principals are saying they don't want, it stops there. And the next day, it changes. I will ask them to go back to the original. I personally do not like it. I don't like it. It shouldn't be. Each of the schools should be identified with